Parents, our September 28th monthly meeting. Hopefully we can get through all of our things in a relatively quick amount of time. We have call to order at 6 p.m. and we'll start off with the previous minutes to approve those from the August meeting.
One second, sorry, lots of tabs.
I know you have a lot going on. Thank you for doing that.
I had it, where'd it go? Sorry, everybody. Art Cannon, share drive. The one thing I forgot to leave open.
It's all good.
Okay, here we go. Here's the previous minutes. Oops.
Here we go. If you've had a chance to look those over we sent them out early. We have a motion to approve those minutes.
Approve.
Second.
Was that John?
No, I started the approval.
Keith approved and I seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Then we can move on. Sorry, Mr. Cannon, I know you have lots of screens.
Oh, sorry, let's go back to this one. Okay. Treasurer's report.
Now we're to John.
So there was a deposit of $70 from, I guess someone had found some cash in the desk drawer that we're assuming was for Reed's. So that's how I entered that. There was a debit for filing fees for filing for our nonprofit status. 2 debits of $177.07 total. And then there was a check for some outstanding invoices going back to January for Quinlan and Fabish for $850 roughly, giving us a balance right now of $5,514.62.
Thanks, John. How's it going?
Fine. Bubbling through this a little bit. I didn't really know how the process worked, but Eileen helped me. So
I think that learning curve is pretty high at the beginning. Thanks for doing this. We appreciate it very much. So thank you.
problem.
We move back. I should have printed off my agenda. Sorry, guys. That'll take us to our old business. We want to start out with the fundraiser. There's quite a bit of information to go over with that tonight. Basically, we decided to go with the popcorn fundraiser for this fall. It's under their supportmyfundraiser.org program. We're only going to sell popcorn this time, no other candies or sweets, just the popcorn. It's $16 and we make an $8 profit. We get 50% profit off of everything that's sold. If we do it again, we could decide to add other things. Students will be making their own seller accounts and all the product is shipped to them, so nothing comes to the school. The students will need an email account to set up their seller's dashboard. So the rep that I've been working with is Chad. He says it's a secure site where it's not a public shared email address, but I don't know what the school rules are. So if we need kids to use a different account, like a parent account or something, we'll just need to set that up, and I'll need your teacher's opinion. And
they will need to use a parent account. The school does not accept emails from outside of district.
Okay, so you'll want to make sure all of your kids have a different email account ready to go to set up that seller dashboard. All the money that is collected is paid directly to the company. We do not touch any of the money, so that's good. All the product, I think I said, sorry, is sent straight to the seller, so we don't touch product. A final check will be sent to the IT music parents at the end of the sale, 50% profit. It's going to be sent to the school address, so we'll just need to make sure somebody is watching out for that to make sure it doesn't get lost in the shuffle without people being around so much. We will not use their little trinket incentive program because they will only send that to the school. They will not send that direct to students, and we didn't think that was a good fit with us being remote. So instead, they're going to give us an additional 2% of all sales that we can use to add incentives for the kids. So this will show up on the seller tab as they sell more items. This like dollar amount will keep growing. And then we get to decide, how do we want to divvy up the total of that? Do we want to do like digital gift cards, top 3 sellers, top 10 sellers, whatever we want? That's our money to divide. We just probably should tell the kids ahead of time what our thought process is for that. We get to offer other incentives if we want from the music parents. I mean, we could still, if you think, there's another incentive that would get kids selling more, we have our own options. I know sometimes we provided additional incentives from the music parents too. So that's another option. Myself and all of the directors will have access to the seller dashboard as the admin account, so we can keep track of student accounts and monitor any problems that come up. All the links for the accounts will become active on October 16th. That's a Thursday, and close on November 6th will be the last day. The rep Chad is recommending that like all the teachers push that out on the first day, like in class, to help kids sign up so it gets done right, instead of just saying, go home and sign up. He suggests that you do that together in class to help the kids walk through it. And he is completely available in his office that day. He set that as an office day, so he's available to you if you have problems from your end. They fill out a short form to create their individual seller account. It includes their name, their teacher, their grade, their email. So we just need to know what one to use, phone number, and then a personal password, and set a personal goal. Then they get the choice whether they upload a picture of themselves or not. He says sometimes grandma and grandpa like that because then they, see that lovely face when the text or email comes in. That's again, school policy, I don't know, and you guys can decide how you would like to do that. There's his direct or his email and direct phone number is included there for the directors. So if you have any problems, let him know. He also suggested that a lot of districts with this online format have been having the teachers create a seller account to create like a little in-class competition. Can you sell more than Mr. Cannon? Don't let Mr. Cannon beat you. I don't know if the teachers are interested in that. Said it's pretty motivating. The kids don't like to lose to their teachers. So I said that's been something a lot of districts have done because of this format. They've set up their own account and made a modest amount that most kids maybe could sell more than, so they beat their teacher. So that's just another option that you guys could do if you wanted to. That's a lot of information right through there. I think our big 2 things that come to my mind right away are, what do we want to do about prizes? How do we want to handle that? So we're prepared for that. And then you've already answered the email. The kids will just need to make sure they're using a parent email address. Do you guys have other input or ideas?
So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I was thinking that Cindy might have a good idea of what kids like. I'm assuming that they're sparkly llamas or something that kids might like. But I don't know. I'm gonna put Cindy on the spot. Cindy, is there anything that you're hearing that kids really are interested in right now, except for TikTok?
TikTok is the big one. There's not really a whole lot. Kind of depending on what the budget would be per prize. It could be kind of fun to get the kids like those little tablet pillows for when they're doing their remote learning. Just something kind of different, kind of random. Just a thought.
So to ask, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know Susan Rydell can put our IT logo on pretty much anything we want, because from discussions in the past. So I don't know if it'd be worth possibly doing like some sort of swag for the top percentage of kids, like the top 3 get a sweatshirt or a hoodie or something like that. In addition to a digital gift card, because I know when we do the swag stuff, that tends to go over really well. So that might be something to consider.
Well, that's going to be my question, is we probably want to have tiers of prizes. and it's kind of something music parents, you know, what your idea of as far as the tiers, like, you know, if a kid sells 2 items, what do they get? If a kid sells 5 items, you know, where do you want to set those tiers up? Since this is our first time doing it, you know, we might just have to kind of trial and error this for the first time, but that might be a place to start. And then we can make those prizes kind of relative to those tiers.
Do you think it will be difficult to do physical prizes with being remote?
Well, the school's been really good about distributing physical items. I don't see an issue with really distributing them. We can arrange for that, whether it be ship or have a director drop off. I mean, we can brainstorm that as it comes up, but I don't think that would be an issue. As long as you're not doing like 150 items, I mean, then it might get ridiculous. But if you're doing, you know, like 10 or 15, I don't think it would really be that bad.
So
If we, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna try to pull up kind of like the Chicago, the fundraiser we did last year, and just kind of see what their tiers were, and that might give us an idea of where we should put ours.
And then the other option is if we're going to do a physical prize anyways, we could just use the fundraisers incentive program that they already have set up. That does not cost us anything. They would take away that 2% that they were going to give us to provide incentives. But if we're going to do a physical prize anyways, then that's already set up by tiers. You know, sell 3 boxes of popcorn, you get this, sell 20, you get this. It's already set up in tiers.
So that's kind of where, if we were voting on it, I'm kind of leaning, you know, 2% is nice, but also not having to worry about prizes is also nice. Do we have a list of prizes that they are offering?
I do not have that because originally our thought was to not do prizes. So I do not have that right now, but I know I can get it from them. It's your typical, what I saw, I did see it. It's your typical
Tchotchkes.
tchotchke things for the lower level. And then it goes up to, you know, pretty nice. Like one was like a droid. I mean, like some nice ones on the top end. So it's, you know, I hate to say, but it's your standard fundraiser prizes.
Okay. I think that to me personally sounds appealing, because then we don't have to rack our brain about what kids will like and what if they aren't as motivating as we thought. And then I don't know, anyone else have an opinion here?
I would chime in that I like the mix of Mr. Cannon's idea with swag, because I think kids do like getting a sweatshirt or something. And maybe the music parents could provide like the top 3 sellers with some sort of swag item, like a sweatshirt or something. And then we could use the popcorn company's resources for the others. I don't know, other ideas, input.
Tracy, I would just check with them and get an idea of what they're giving out. Because I know I've done fundraisers in the past where the prizes are like very grade school. So if they're too little kid and they're not going to be any kind of incentive, then we could figure out our own plan. And I know we did a fundraiser last year. We did like a holiday shop for the PTA.
Yes.
And so I have some things that were really good sellers that weren't super expensive that we could probably use as smaller ideas if we had to. I mean, I'd rather use theirs because I agree it's easier to take their stuff as long as it's not, you know, aimed toward.
I have what's on their
No.
website if you want me to share it real quick, and you could tell me if it's the same thing.
I was just pulling that up. Thank you, Mr. Cannon.
Is
Go
it
ahead.
this one here? The crazy about prizes from Poppin' Popcorn?
That's it.
Okay, so here's the prizes they're offering. So if you tell 2 items, it looks like you get a keychain. 6 items is a pop-up, sticky splat egg, 12 items, mobile phone fan. So yeah, it looks kind of like the tchotchkes that you normally get from like Oriental Trading. And then it goes all the way up here to looks like a Hot Wheels Sky remote control plane for 200 items.
that body bumper set looks promising. But there was also a comment on YouTube asking if an Amazon gift card would be appropriate as a potential prize as well. I am just kind of keeping an eye on the YouTube chat, so I want to make sure I brought that up.
Thank you.
I think the best bet would be to use this incentive program in combination with something else that we do for like a grand prize winner or a couple other winners where we, throw some swag in there or Amazon gift cards or something to that extent. But I think if we only do, the swag for like 3 or 4 people and then a grand prize winner, you're going to have a lot of kids that are left out versus if we do this and we can, put all the prizes in a Ziploc bag or whatever it is and just put one bag on the doorstep for the kid. I think that would be the way to go, or however we want to do it. We can figure that out at a later date.
Right. I think, so could we have a consensus that we're going to skip the 2% that the company would give us, and we're going to use their incentive program instead? And the music parents will pick up 3 or 4 or 5. What do you think is a good number? How many grand prize winners should we get for swag or gift cards? Do you remember what we've done in the past? How many top winners have gotten?
We did it
I
by
think-
price
yeah.
last year, like
Yeah,
by how
it
much they
wasn't-
sold. But I think if we do like the top seller from the band, the orchestra, and the choir, and then one grand prize winner, I think that could be kind of fun.
I agree. I think that's a great idea, Eileen. I just want to make sure either from John or from Eileen, 2%, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not a lot, right? Like we can live without 2%.
Well, it all depends how much we sell, right? I mean, probably.
But you're gonna spend 2% or more just on
That's what I
stuff more you handle
figured,
trading.
yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah, I
I think
think
if we
you're
did it
right.
on
I
our
think-
own, we'd end up spending more than 2% just
I
because
think you're right. I think
quantities
you're right.
and,
Yes. All right. I'm ready
How
to
would you feel- How would you feel about doing their incentives? A top winner from band, choir, and orchestra would get swag, and an overall grand prize winner would get a gift card. How would we feel about that?
Yeah, I would do that, but I would say the overall winner shouldn't be the same as one of the ensemble winners. Like that should be the second person in that ensemble, just to spread it out. So that
I
one
would-
person isn't getting 2 things.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah, and let's get that in writing in case any of us forget.
Well, right. I'm Tina today because she had 2 house closings today. So I'm Tina. So I'm taking the minutes on that. So let me write that in. Hold on.
And it's also being recorded on YouTube, so everyone look happy.
Oh, good. So if I do a bad job, she can always go back.
Okay, so motion to approve using the fundraisers incentive program and the top winner from each ensemble plus an overall top winner receiving music swag and gift card. Motion for that.
I'll motion.
Second,
Second.
and approve. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'm going to go with that passed. It was hard to tell on Zoom. But yes, we're going with that. Anything else? I know fundraiser was a big event for tonight. Directors, obviously, if I didn't say anything clear and you need more information, reach out to me, please. And anything you need for that, let me know. I will be in touch with him about changing to the incentive program and how we get that publicity to the kids, like if that's online or how we do that. So I will reach out to him and take care of incentives. Anything else on fundraiser?
I think just having that written out document for prizes and how we're doing that will be helpful. So if we could include that into the awesome document that you have for kind of the procedure of the fundraiser, that would be great.
Yep. Will do. Okay, do we have a beginning band and orchestra update?
Do you want me to do it, Keith, or do you want to?
Oh, Raymond's been awesome at this. So I'm gonna let Raymond do it.
All right, so we
And
had,
Cindy.
yes, Cindy's been awesome at it too. So Cindy made fancy flashy things that I did not, but hers looks really nice. So on Wednesday of last week, we had a parent meeting for question and answer. We streamed it YouTube live. I think the live stream was up to like 50 or 30 at some point, somewhere in there. So overall, it went really well. And since then, I think there's been like 20 views on that. It's on our Indian Trail Performing Arts channel. So parents can go check that out if they have questions and missed anything. The site to register is still open. So parents can still register if they haven't already registered. Sorry, I keep like hitting the wrong thing. It is based on our domain. So it's join.asd4 or asd4music.org. And then parents who have not signed up can fill out the English or the Spanish form here, and then that will get us to the directors. There's also the video that's here with a link to their presentation. And parents have been really good about emailing me questions, and I've been answering them. We have a meeting with district admin tomorrow, I believe. If you guys want to like, yes, tomorrow we have a meeting. Sorry, there's so many meetings. I'm trying to keep track of stuff. So we have a meeting with admin tomorrow to discuss hiring or approving the 5th grade program and what we're going to do for hiring staff for that. We'll kind of fill you guys in as we know more and we're told we can disseminate that information. But that will be tomorrow. And then we are also going to set up once everything's approved and through the board and through John, we are going to set up a sign up event where they can come and rent instruments. And I've already talked to QNF. They're actually going to bring everything out and have a parking lot event. So parents can come out and rent the instrument and walk away with the instrument right away, or drive up and rent an instrument and drive away with the instrument right away. So that way they don't have to ship everything to the house and we don't have to worry about distributing everything. So it's just waiting for everything to be approved so we can get that on the schedule, and then we'll let parents know via email when we know anything. Anything I missed, Keith?
No, and I just want to say again and put on the record that Raymond and Cindy have worked really hard at getting this off the ground, and it's been a lot of meetings and it's been a lot of discussions, and they've really just taken this and they've made some really awesome things happen for our kids. And so just wanted to commend them, commend the music parents for their support of the 5th grade programs, and you know, we're really hoping that even with these unusual circumstances that we're going to get instruments in kids' hands and get playing as soon as possible.
So where are we at now with signups as opposed to like where we usually are?
So number wise for band, we're right about where we normally are. We're at about 52 today. Orchestra, we're actually about 70 short of where we usually are at this point. So orchestra is quite a bit down, but after the issues we had last year with finding a director and the issues we had, it's not really that surprising, but it is something we're going to have to address and something we're going to have to keep an eye on moving forward to make sure that we do get those orchestra numbers back up so that the program doesn't suffer.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Cindy, did you have anything to add to any of the recruitment stuff?
I think you pretty much covered everything. Yeah, just orchestra's struggling a little bit this year, but we will do what we can to get that interest back up. Last year, we took a hit last year, and we're just gonna have to rebound. That's all.
And thank you. You guys will. And we're here to support whatever you need to help with that too. So don't be afraid to reach out to us in any way we can help you guys through that process. So
is there a way that music parents can advertise that sign up again? And maybe the Raymond made a video, Raymond and Cindy made a video. We could, you know, we have the information from the Wednesday night meeting. Could that stuff also be put out in social media for music parents? And even just in the community again, another push?
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll post it on ASD4 Families and the Addison e-group. And I can send it to Mr. Corey and ask him to put it. The high school has a Facebook page too for their music department. I mean, just for siblings and neighbors and whatever.
And
I'll get that email to you tonight.
Okay.
Another place we should try to get it is to all the elementary schools, since it is 5th grade.
It was put on all the fifth grade classrooms, the general music classrooms, and supposedly they didn't. The principal sent it out either as more updates or via Skyward as well. So it should have been pushed out to all those as well.
I think that might have been over the summer, though. I feel like it hasn't been since school started. I don't think.
They did it not last week, the week before last. So
They did. Okay.
Yes, because we sent out when we made a new video, not last week, the week before, like a recruitment video, like, hey, come join us, and then we put up the link for the meeting, and we had probably like 40 or 50 kids signed up since we put out that video. So I mean, it did get out to those fifth graders, and they did see it. And I know some of the principals and some of the teachers had emailed me back with like pictures of their score letters and Google Classroom saying, hey, look, it's up. So
Awesome.
but that being said, there are some schools that like we are down significantly at, like Fullerton and Stone, we're down significantly. Lincoln, we only have one kid, like period. So I mean, we need to get on some of those schools to get them kind of up too.
I mean, I can send it out also to the PTAs at Stone and Fullerton. I mean, that's, I have contacts at Fullerton, so.
I think that would be great. I think the more we get this stuff out, the better. And the many, not to make people sick of seeing it, but sometimes people just miss it. We're in a super busy world right now, and the more places, the better. I don't see that being harmful.
And district office also sent it out on the school district Twitter page as well, and Facebook page, I believe.
Great. So Eileen's going to take care of reposting that same information to get it out there again for another push, especially focusing on the two elementaries. I mean, it'll go everywhere, but especially focusing there. Fantastic. Thank you. 8th grade awards and gift distribution. I think we found our update that is basically taken care of at this point. Anything to add with the list or anything, Eileen or directors?
I updated the list on the Google Doc that I originally received from Ms. Toika, so that should be up to date. You guys should have the most up-to-date information. However, I do know that Mr. Corey was very clear to say that he did not check everybody off. So it's highly possible that you have people on that list that actually did receive their stuff. And I know that he didn't, because I have I think I have 13 gifts left. But according to the checklist that I put on the Google Doc, there's 24 or 25 kids that didn't pick up. So that's not right. So I know that we missed at least that, dozen or so kids. So I wouldn't 100% trust that list is accurate. That's why I kind of said, maybe we should just hand out the trophies. And then I would ask like Mr. Corey and Mr. Stombris and Mr. Nellison to send out to their class, like their classes. Hey, if any 8th graders didn't get their awards, let me know and we'll hook you up. Because that way, if somebody wants it, I mean, some of them don't care. So I wouldn't like passionately search for everyone, but I would make sure the kids that actually care about it get it. And I would certainly make sure that the trophies get to their,
Yes, that seems.
So I can provide a quick update so I made it my mission this morning to kind of figure that out and to at least get the ball rolling on that. So I took Eileen's list. The front office staff were able to run a report for me. So I was able to pool phone numbers and contact information. I will be contacting those families throughout this week and next week, just calling to make sure that they receive the award. If not, the medal, if not, to kind of set up those arrangements so that they can get them.
Awesome.
It's my mission.
Thank you, Mr. Tankersley. That's great. Thank you so much for doing that. When do we want to set up the next Music Swag event? Do we, what time of year do we typically do that?
So
I
usually
set
we
up
do
last
it.
year. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Raymond.
I was going to say, I set it up last year. We didn't start it until last year or the year before. Traditionally, we try to do it right before winter break, like November-ish. That gives us enough time for the kids to order and for it to come in, because a lot of parents will use those as kind of presents for kids in the holiday season. And then we also try to do one before the end of the year. So we tend to do like the sweaters and the hoodies and stuff. We tend to sell more in November, and then like the t-shirts and stuff like that, we tend to sell more in the spring, if I remember correctly. Cindy would have a little bit better idea because she did the November one. Because most of the kids that ordered them, to be honest, were in orchestra, if you remember.
Yeah,
Well, it was orchestra and choir, I know specifically, but band also had their own hoodies because of the Addison Trail stuff. But yeah, I remember doing pretty well in both the winter times. We've done it for 2 years now. I don't remember doing it in the spring, but I'm excited to try that.
I know we had talked about doing it in the spring last year, but that didn't quite play out the way we wanted it to, for obvious reasons. And I don't think the year before we got to do it in the spring. I think our order was just in January the year before or something weird. But the kids definitely love the hoodies. I have kids that have already asked about swag, like the kids that missed out on it last year. This kind of a random thought that I had the other day. I was thinking about adding to the swag to make like a little, I have one from my high school. It's just like a little teddy bear that has the name on it, little logo. Because I have so many Zoom classes where kids pop up and say bye with their little teddy bears. So I think if we add, see if they can add that to our swag list, especially for the winter one around the holidays, I think that would be a good plan, but I wanted to bring it up to music parents, see what you guys thought as well.
That's a really cute idea.
Yeah, it is really cute. And once they have the logo, I mean, it's not like it costs you anything to have them put it on other stuff. I mean, that's a smaller size, but shouldn't be a big issue.
Yeah. I think it'd be really fun to buy that for like my nieces and nephews. I think they would like that.
Yeah,
That
that's
Means I have to
cool.
buy like 6 of them.
That's an awesome idea. I love that. That's really
I love
good.
the idea of doing it in the spring because you can send it to the 5th graders and get them to sign up. Do it
Yeah.
before registration. Like, get them excited about playing in junior high because,
Hey,
Yeah.
if they sign up, free t-shirt.
like that. I mean, that's a great plan to get them kind of excited about the next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So maybe in our October meeting, we need to try to approve some designs and ideas. Does Ms. Toyka run with that usually, or are you looking for a music parent to run with that? I'm just not sure how that's happened and what you would like.
I know in the past, Mr. Cannon had been in contact with that. There was like one specific company that we had been using. And I believe they have our design already. And we were working on getting it through in like an online order system. But Mr. Cannon can kind of fill us in on that.
Yeah, so the person we work with is the same one Indian Trail works with. Her name's Susan Rydell. I can either pass along the contact information to you guys, or we can run with it. It doesn't matter to me either way. And what she sends me is like a PDF printout basically of what it costs, what we want to charge. So we just need to determine if you want to use it as a fundraiser, if you want to sell them at cost. And then we just need to determine what items we would want to sell. So that way I could just say, hey, if you can get us this, and then we can see if we can either do it online or through an e-commerce website, but we would just need to figure out the items that we would want.
Well, if you don't, I mean, unless somebody else wants to jump in, Mr. Cannon, if you want to start the ball on that, but if you want me to take over any of that, just let me know. I'd be glad to make sure that's all in line for our October meeting to pick the items and decide on the price point that we want to do and everything, so we could have it ready to go for selling in November.
Yeah, what I'll probably do is I'll just get the ball rolling and then pass it off to you and just say, hey, this is the person that's in charge of the music parents who's going to be doing it. But I'd rather have it come from me so that way she knows, hey, it's the same person with the same logo, rather than trying to design a whole new everything.
That
So-
sounds perfect.
If that makes sense. And we'll use the same IT music logo that we currently use for all of our social media and everything already.
I love that there's a unified logo for all of the ensembles for at the junior high. I love that idea. That was really nice. Anything else music swag wise? Okay, virtual clubs update. Are they running virtual clubs?
Yeah, so Mr. Wortman sent out a email about teachers, staff members being able to sign up as sponsors for clubs again, much like in the years past. Only this year we're going to do them all online until we're told otherwise. I went ahead and put in my virtual clubs for TB Ensemble and Glee Club. So those will be happening in the next, I think the first meeting will be October 7th and 8th, respectively for both groups. So for the vocal music, we'll be doing same thing as always, just virtually.
Great.
Oh, I was going to say for mine, I put in for Bravecast again, so we will have that. I also put in for Drumline. Jazz band, I was informed, is already approved because it's a stipend activity. It's not a club, so I will be putting together a game plan for that. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do it since we can't have all of the kids playing at once on Zoom due to lag. But we're going to put together something, whether it's a master class on jazz or whether it's having a virtual ensemble, but we'll figure something out.
And
Thank
I
you.
did put in for pep notes. We're gonna kind of do, like with orchestra right now, we're doing a lot of, they're playing along with me, but they're muted. And hopefully we can get them to record videos and like splice videos together. The focus right now will probably be just trying to get some music maybe out on social media. Just little videos, things like that. I have one new song for this year so far, so see how that goes.
Well, I just thank you guys for doing all of those clubs for the kids. I mean, they need it now as much and more than ever, but I know it's extra trouble figuring out how to make it work in this environment. So that's just a personal thank you for all that extra time and effort you're putting in for the kids. They need it. They do appreciate it. They may never tell you. And the parents definitely appreciate it. So thank you all. For the jazz band fronts that were purchased last year, we've been working on getting a logo on the front. I'm putting some information together, still working on getting that logo with a, I found one place that would do a lovely job, but it was going to be over $300 to do 10 stands, and was just too pricey. So we're looking at other options and getting some more information, and I'm being in touch with Mr. Cannon to share that, and hopefully we'll maybe figure out a plan to get approved for the next meeting. Okay, any questions on that or the clubs? Awesome, then moving to new business, we have a request from all of the music teachers to approve the purchase of a Finale music notation software program. It would allow them to create or arrange music for their ensembles or individuals. And then also they can all use the same Finale program, so we only have to purchase one. And then each would need a MIDI keyboard to attach to be able to input that music into the software program. I'll let the directors explain that more in depth if you have questions. And I'm sorry, I did not put the dollar amounts here.
I can pull it up in my email. Traditionally, what we've done in the past, Lawrence and I both owned our own copies of Finale because it's like a pretty pricey program. Originally, it was about $700, so we purchased our own, and then we just kind of upgraded them through the years. With the new changes at District this year, they won't let us install programs that have a personal license. So what District has told us is they would need to purchase a license. Basically, if the music parents would do it for us, what we do is have the music parents write a check to the school, and the school would purchase the program under their discount, which would make it $350 for the institution copy of the program, which can be installed on 3 different computers. I'm just trying to find the sheet here. Hold on. As far as the price for it, the program itself, like I said, is $350. Up here it is. And then, no, sorry. So it'd be $350 for the program and then $204 for the MIDI keyboards because it's 3 of them at $68 something a piece. I think $68.04. And then once again, all that together would be just a check that the music parents would write to the school district so that way they can purchase it because anything installed on the computer or used for on the computers has to be purchased from the district. Any questions on what Finale is or how we would use it or?
Yeah, I do. What is that?
Okay, so Finale is a music notation software. So basically, the easiest way to explain it is it's Microsoft Word for music. So it allows us to create music. It allows us to transpose music. We're looking at piloting smart music this year with some of our students. So we can also write music and import straight into smart music and use that with our students. So it gives us a lot of power of different things we can do. With our special ed students, it also allows us to go in and we can change note names to colors. So for instance, like if I have a C, I can change it to red. So every time that student sees a red, he knows he has to hit C, or I can enable print modifications on it and it allows me to change the size or timing. I can export MP3 files. So I can type in music and I can either export one part. So I can export like a flute part so they can listen to the flute part, or I can export the entire ensemble so they can hear what their part sounds like in the entire ensemble. So, and we use it a lot for jazz and we use it a lot for band and a little bit. I know Ms. Toika has used a little bit for orchestra in the past, but I know it's more of like a band thing that we use it for. And it's just because we have so many instruments usually that we have to arrange for.
And Mr. Underwood used that software when he wrote like the pieces for contest or summer band, when he would write out those arrangements. That's the software that he used. So it makes it really easy to print out parts for students that are easy for them to read, have the proper like rehearsal numbers. So it's easier for rehearsals as well, compared to some programs where they just give you 100 measures and nothing to help you find where to start if you stop in the middle of a rehearsal.
And that is, if I remember correctly, that is a one-time fee. It's not a yearly license or update. That is just the cost. It's a one-time deal. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the way Finale works is it's a one-time standalone fee for the program. They do offer, at least like for my personal copy, the last 2 times they've upgraded it for free. I don't know if that's just because I've upgraded so many times or if it's because that's the way they're doing it for everyone now. They have like, there's 2 different ways on their website that they explain it. Some of them say for the student one and for the university one, it's upgraded to the next 2 for free, and sometimes it's not. But when you upgrade Finale, all it does is just give it a facelift. No features change in Finale. The only things that change feature-wise is it just upgrades like the sound of the instrument. But the program itself, I mean, my sister, who's a professional musician, still uses the copy from 1990 that we bought originally when I was a child. And she doesn't want to upgrade because she loves it and she knows how to use it and it works just fine.
Do we have other questions for the directors about Finale or the keyboards?
Were there any on YouTube that came in at all?
Nothing on YouTube yet.
Okay.
I got it.
Would there be a motion? Would there be a motion to approve purchasing Finale and MIDI keyboards for $554? Anyone?
John's raising his hand. I don't know if I muted him, so I don't know if he can unmute
Stay
him.
out of it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see that. Thank you.
But I'll second it if you want.
All right, so yes, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, then if you could just reach out to John about getting a check and for the dollar amount and who that goes to. Music Boosters will purchase the Finale and keyboard. So yay, I hope that's helpful for you guys.
Thank you very much.
This next one does not take much time. On the agenda is an attached bylaws that Eileen was awesome enough to retype, but then we found that actually those bylaws do not line up with kind of currently what we're actually doing. So I put, oh, I may not have come through on this version. I had gone through and put several comments of things that we should update, and we could look that over and approve at the next meeting. We don't need to go, you know what? I don't see that they went. They were all commented and they seem to be gone. Okay, things like it said that we
You just have to give edit access to us, and then once you give edit access to us, we'd be able to see it.
you'd be able to see that. Okay.
Yes.
I will do that here in a second. I'll move on to the next thing and then I'll come back and do that so you guys can see it. Basically, it was very minor things, but it was like we charged dues on the old ones and we do not charge dues for the Music Booster parents. There were a couple of other just outdated things. So I will update that to give you guys edit access so you can see those revisions and we could vote on changing them on the next meeting if people agree or have more conversation over it. A big one next under new business is we're looking for a volunteer who would like to take over the music parents' social media interests, basically like the Remind account, website, Facebook posting, anything with social media. Mr. Cannon, do you want to kind of explain what that might entail?
Sure. So let me hold on. This one. Okay. So currently, here's a list of our social media accounts. We would be looking for somebody to take over the website and just keep it up to date. Currently, the website version that we're running, it was updated by Ms. Toika a couple of years ago. And for the most part is pretty accurate. So the only thing that like hasn't been updated is just like the meeting dates on here, the advocacy part and how the joins still go. And then our officers also need to be updated. So we just need to do like a few minor updates to this, and the person would be in charge of just keeping everything up to date. And then anything else that you guys obviously would want to put on this site or keep up to date on this site. And it is linked currently to all our other websites. So anything that you would put on here would go live on all the other websites. It is run through Google Sites. So literally I can show you here, I just click this button. It opens up. I can click and type. You don't have to have any coding knowledge at all. All you have to do is just click and type. And then we would also need somebody to take over the Facebook page, which might be blocked as soon as I try to open it. Okay, it's not. So we have a Facebook page for the music parents, which we need somebody just to run that. And that would be just posting things that are going on in the music parents, posting about meetings, so on and so forth. We have a Facebook group, which right now is moderated by the teaching staff, as well as Ms. Pausa, and I believe Ms. Santini is on that as well. So that one hasn't been used as much in the past, but there's people that go on there and ask questions every once in a while, and it's the same thing for the Remind. So the Remind account would just be to push out information relating to meetings or whatever is going on in the specific scope of what's going on. It's pretty much just we need somebody to communicate what we do to the public. In the past, it's always been me, and I've gone in and kind of just done it. But with everything going on in my new position, I just don't have the time to keep doing 3 jobs. So it would be nice to have somebody else kind of step up and take it over. Currently, it is all linked to one Google account. So what would happen is you would get access to that Google account, and then that would give you access to all those social media links.
Thank you. That makes sense. Is there someone that is, really into the social media world and would just love to take that over and help spread the news of, Music Parents is trying to be a lot more active, trying to get things out there and let everybody know about the awesome things going on in the music program at Indian Trail, because there's a lot. So we just want that information to get out to the public more, whether it's opportunities for the kids or sharing successes of the program. We just want to share that out with the community as many ways as we can think of. So is there someone that feels that would match well with their skill set? We would certainly appreciate a volunteer that would be interested in running with that.
And I think what might be the best course of action right now is to have somebody email us, either myself or you, because remember, this YouTube video is going to also go on the YouTube channel as a recorded video. And even though we only have 8 viewers now, more people may watch it in the next couple days. So I would say if you are interested in that position, please email me. It's rcannon, RCANNON @asd4.org. And then I will also put that on the social media pages as well. So that way, if anyone sees those who's interested, they can step up. And obviously, we have to make sure they have a student that's currently enrolled, because we don't just want to hand them the keys to the kingdom without making sure we vet them a little bit, but get that taken care of. And then I will pass any names that I get off to you, and you can make a decision as the president.
That sounds great. Thank you, Mr. Cannon. We'll probably table the next one a little bit longer, maybe into the next month. They found several, I mean, several old trophies and awards from dating back to the 50s, I believe, that are kind of just laying around. And what could be done with those? Any ideas or creative suggestions? If you want to maybe, again, think of some ideas that maybe you've seen other districts do. How do they, what do they do with their trophies and awards from the past? How can we honor the tradition of excellence that's been in this program for so many years, and not lose that and forget about it? But the trophies are kind of just sitting around not being utilized in any way right now. So if you, again, could think of some ideas, have any thoughts that you've seen other districts do with their old trophies, we would welcome any suggestions. And again, maybe if you want to email the Indian Trail Junior Music, ITJRH, right? Indian Trail Junior High Music Parents. It's a tongue twister. ITJRH Music Parents @gmail.com. If you have any ideas, suggestions, or want to run with that, send us an email. We would be glad to hear from you. And we can talk about that a little bit more next time. Our tax exempt status, Eileen or John, do you have updates on that?
I do. I've been kind of working on this extensively over the last couple of months, trying to figure out where we are in terms of our not-for-profit status, where we need to be, what the important issues are. So here's what I've narrowed down. So in August, I caught up our not-for-profit registration with the state of Illinois. That's through the Secretary of State's office, right? So I filed, 12 or 13 years of back reports, because you have to file an annual report, which we have not been doing, from my point of view, at least, because I had no idea that was out there. So I caught us up to now, and we have an annual reporting requirement from now on, which is, a tiny little form. It's really no big deal. It's just listing the officers. So that's the first step of what we have to do. After that, it gets a little bit more interesting. So I talked to, I did a lot of research about kind of what we should do. In the past, we've had a tax exemption from the state of Illinois, which allowed us to buy things without paying sales tax, is really what it did. It didn't do anything else in terms of making us a not-for-profit corporation. And it only applies to things we buy in the state of Illinois. So if we buy things online, we can't be tax exempt online, which is kind of problematic because, from my perspective as the treasurer, we buy everything online, other than like supplies for the Pops concert, like if we go to the grocery store, right? That kind of stuff we buy in Illinois. But for most part, most of the money we spend is out of state. I was also concerned about the fact that I read when we originally established the Music Parents, we had to file and get a federal tax ID as an organization. So I have the original paperwork from that, and I think it's from the 70s, maybe the 80s. Anyway, so when we registered, we were told as part of that documentation that if our gross income didn't exceed $5,000 a year, we didn't actually need to register as a 501c3. If we met all the qualifications, we could just act like a 501c3, and that was enough. However, My concern about that, $5,000 isn't very much. Just to give you an idea, our gross receipts for last year were, I think it was 37,000 something. That's gross receipts. Obviously, we don't hang on to a lot of that money. It goes right out the door to pay fundraising companies and stuff like that. But the state, they don't care about that. And for IRS purposes, it's gross receipts. Okay. So we're way above that $5,000 limit, which, by the way, was on a letter we got in the 80s. So that number may have changed, but we're still, I mean, it's significant. I know from my work on PTAs at the various schools in our district that if your PTA makes $50,000 or less as a gross annual receipt, you can file like an easy tax form. So that's kind of the number that's in my mind. We're below that number. So I reached out to the accountant who does taxes for the Stone PTA, just to get an idea, because he's a not-for-profit accountant. So I wanted to ask him, my concern right now for us is that we had gross receipts of $37,000 last year, and we didn't file anything in terms of tax. So I kind of reached out to him and said, so, I mean, what's the issue? What's the deal? Is that a problem or not? And his response to me was on the order of, well, probably no one's going to come after you. They have bigger fish to fry. But if they did come after you, they could require you to pay taxes on all the money you've ever earned since you started in 1980, blah, 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 whatever. Well, that's not fun. So my thought is that as an organization, it probably makes sense for us to actually file and become a 501c3. I think it's the right thing to do. Before I proceed with that, however, I would probably email Mr. Keeley from district and run it by him and just kind of get his opinion about that before I proceed with the paperwork. So I can do that. That's not a problem at all. Just to make sure that there aren't any other issues, because that was the question. I also kind of asked the accountant, is there anything else we have to be aware of? Like, if we become a 501c3, is there other stuff that we don't know about that we'd then be subjected to? And the only thing is we'd have to file annual taxes, which, as long as our gross receipts stay under $50,000 a year, is like a postcard we have to send in. It's not a big deal. It doesn't cost us anything other than the initial application fee, which, by the way, I looked into, and it's somewhere on the order of $300 to become a 501c3, and that's through the IRS. So apply through the federal IRS. The bonus of that is that it would make us tax exempt everywhere, which is kind of nice. And like I said, I kind of feel like it's probably the honest thing to do in light of the fact that we have made a decent amount of money as the music parents. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So if you guys are all kind of okay with it, I would take the next step of involving administration. And Mr. Tankersley, I will copy you on any emails I send, just so you know what's going on with that. But I don't want to make the application until Mr. Keeley kind of gives it his blessing and says, yeah, that seems like a reasonable thing to do. And I probably want Mr. Langton to be aware of it as well, just so they know this is happening. Mr. Keeley's the business manager, if anybody doesn't know that, for the district. So I'm thinking he has a pretty good idea about not-for-profit and what our, obligations are. Does that kind of make sense? Does anybody
Yeah,
about that? I know it's really complicated, so.
So just listening, first of all, Eileen, I want to thank you from the director's point of view. I'm speaking for them, but I appreciate all of your hard work that you've done for music parents, and especially for this. This is above and beyond, and I really do appreciate all of your hard work on this. I think, Eileen, you're in the right direction. I think we should probably let Tim Keeley know about this, and wouldn't be surprised if he'd like to sit down and talk to us just to make sure that he understands, and maybe filling him in on that backstory wouldn't be a bad idea. Mm-hmm. And I think if you want to go ahead and just email him and say, this is the direction that we'd like to go in. Do we have your blessing? We can just go from there first. And kind of, and CC John, I think would be a good idea, Mr. Langton. And I think that's a great start.
Cool. The other thing that to be aware of is if I do apply for a 501c3, it does bring attention to the fact that our federal tax ID number was issued
Right.
in the 80s and now we're applying in 2020. I don't think it's a big issue because, I mean, we're pretty small potatoes. It's not like we're making millions of dollars or, but I just want you guys to be aware that it's out there, that, that if we are doing that, obviously there's a really big gap in time between those two things. And so it might raise some questions. The application itself is very simple. It's only a couple of pages, and that's because we make less than $50,000 gross receipts that we qualify for the EZ form. So I already have that downloaded. I've already figured it out. I consulted the same tax accountant from Stone to get, there's a couple of things that we have to check box, like, what I don't know how to explain it, what code we're going to use for what kind of not-for-profit we are, and little detaily things. But I think I have it all straight. Like I said, I don't think it's a big deal. I would probably also run that by Mr. Keeley just to ask him. So maybe it's better that I see if he wants to sit, just have a quick meet with us to talk about it. But I think I have it straightened out. And at this point, I actually think it's pretty easy. Cross your fingers. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I don't know. Is everybody cool with that though? Are you guys all thinking that's the right way to go? I mean, I know Mr. Tankersley was good with it. Is everyone else good?
I think, to be honest, having it done right and doing it the right way would be best. Definitely, since we have parent volunteers running things, and the last thing I would want is it to come back and bite a parent who's just trying to help us out. So I think if we get everything on the right narrow and go from there, I think that would be a good thing. And I've worked in this district for 6 years, and every year it's always been kind of one of those pushes to get it done. It's just never gotten done. I'd say get it done, and I think scheduling those next steps would be appropriate.
So we have never been a 501c3 since we were established.
Nope.
Oh.
I have a feeling that we looked at that gross receipts of $5,000 and we were all like, la, 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 we don't make more than $5,000. And then all of a sudden, I mean, this is like, from a long time ago. Like at one time when we got our tax ID, $5,000 was a lot of money. I mean, that was, 40 or 50 years ago. It's a different, I have a feeling we just decided that right at that time and then never revisited it.
Well, as a director who's been here for a little bit, up until last year, we've never really made more than $5,000 or $6,000 a year. Last year was the first year that we actually made quite a bit of money and had.
It's funny, Mr. Cannon. I went back 5 years and our gross receipts have been pretty consistent. We've been around between $35,000 and $40,000 for probably the last 4 or 5 years. Like I said, we don't keep that. So it's deceiving. That's just how they define it. Because gross is not, net, we're not anywhere in that,
Gotcha.
You think of how much you get in fundraisers and just money just coming in and out. I mean, that makes sense. And I think again, just to reiterate, to repeat what Raymond said, yeah, we need to be on the up and up, and we are a professional organization and we want to do things professionally, then this is probably a good start to do that.
And thank you, Eileen, from everyone for taking the ball and running with that. If you want to just update us at the next meeting on what you find out with those next steps, I think those are all the logical ways to go next.
Great. I will do that, and I will keep in touch so that you guys know what's going on.
Thank you. So, and we've already decided to table until the next meeting, the music swag. So we will look at that next time. Our next meeting is set for October 26th. Does everybody agree with that? October 26th is the date I have down. And that'll be again, another Zoom link that'll go out. It'll be at 6 p.m. again. Is there any other things that we need to do before we adjourn?
I will have another YouTube live for that specific meeting in the next week.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody for your part in making this happen. Making these Zoom meetings happen takes a lot of people doing a lot of things, especially Mr. Cannon is really running a lot of the tech. Thank you so much for doing that. It's really appreciated from everyone. So if there's nothing else, Mr. Tank.
No, did my clap Did my clap emotion work? Did you see it for Raymond? Hang on, I'm doing it. So I'm doing it for my
Yay.
phone. Sorry. There you go. All right. Do we have a
Yes.
motion
And
to
thank
adjourn?
everyone. That's a motion to adjourn, right?
Second.
Second.
Thank you all. We'll see
Thank
you
you,
at
everybody.
the meeting. Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
good night. Goodbye.
Bye.